Okay, today I'm going to read from my book. This is 9 Lives, 1 Mission. Vet-approved home treatments for cats with chronic kidney disease, CKD, right? So let's read Introduction, Jack and Diane. Jack and Diane is a classic song by John Mellencamp, released in 1982. The song tells the story of two young lovers, Jack and Diane, growing up in a small town. They're full of hope and promise, and there's a sense of living in the moment where everything feels endless and uncomplicated. The song also reveals that there's trouble on the breeze, the struggle to maintain unwavering loyalty to others when faced with the pressures of adulthood, careers, personal growth, hardships, or even societal expectations. I didn't say I was a good reader. In your commitment to unwavering loyalty, regardless of the struggles that are occurring in your life, it is your commitment to unwavering loyalty, regardless of the struggles that are occurring in your life, that brings you here. There is trouble on the breeze, and you are searching for answers just like Jack and Diane back in that small town. So let me be very clear. If you're caring for a cat with chronic kidney disease, CKD, then you are in fact on a mission with 3 noble quests. First, help your cat feel better so they can eat, drink, and be themselves and thrive. Second, put the brakes on CKD as much as possible, because the more we do that, the more feel better days we can stack up like sunbeams on a windowsill. Third, decode the mystery of what's really going on, which means to organize these treatments in a way so that you can learn the truth about your cat's health potential. Can they get better? How do we know? We tackle all these 3 goals together, always. Now this book, it's not a dry encyclopedia or endless scroll of maybe try this. Nope, this is how I would talk to you if we were sitting together face to face with a cup of coffee, a rum and coke, or maybe a cat climbing onto my notes. I'm here to share what I've learned over 20 plus years of working with memorable felines and their equally fabulous human beings. Maybe sometimes I overshare because I really want you to know that you can climb this Everest of a mountain, even if life is not perfect, your training was cut short, and there's a hole in your insulated jacket, and it's lonely at base camp. I'm a firm believer in keeping it real, keeping it kind, and throwing in a few chuckles, aka dad jokes, where I can. Because my goal? To get you up and running quickly with the right tools in the right order, so your cat can have the best chance at thriving. What do I mean by put the brakes on CKD? Well, let's just say CKD has a bit of a dramatic flair. You'll often hear us vets declare, it's progressive, which is doctor speak for, this isn't going to fix itself. Left to its own devices, CKD gets worse over time. It's like you and your cat and the kidneys are in a rocky relationship. No communication, no compromise, and absolutely no couples counseling in sight. Things are getting tense. The kidneys are calling their lawyer. There's a talk of separation. Unless we step in, it's all headed for a messy breakup. And trust me, the kidneys are not walking away without a house or dragging you through multiple court dates. Ask me how, I know. So, when I say we're putting the brakes on CKD, I mean we're throwing a big, compassionate wrench into that downward spiral. We're doing everything we can to keep the peace between your cat and those hard-working little bean-shaped organs. Ever wonder why the kidneys get worse? I'll tell you. It's a process called fibrosis. The term fibrosis originates from the Latin word fibra, meaning fiber or filament, combined with the Greek Latin suffix osis, indicating a process or pathological state, ultimately referring to the development of fibrous tissue. This means the kidney is literally turning into nothingness. It reminds me of one of my favorite movies, The Never-Ending Story. The movie follows a young boy named Bastian who discovers a mysterious book that draws him into the magical world of Fantasia, a realm under threat from a dark, formless force called the Nothing. As Bastian reads, he learns that the Nothing is spreading across the land and consuming everything in its path, leaving behind a void of despair and meaninglessness. It symbolizes the growing apathy and loss of imagination in the human world. Only in the human world. It symbolizes the growing apathy and loss of imagination in the human world. Only through a child's belief, creativity, and a willingness to hope can Fantasia be saved. By the time your cat is diagnosed, up to 40 to 70% of the kidney may be undergoing fibrosis, turning the kidney into Bastian's scar tissue of nothingness. This should not sit well with you because it does not sit well with your cat. And just like Fantasia, it will also take belief and creativity combined with simple basics of veterinary science to slow this down. What we do to slow it down often makes them feel better, so it's a win-win. Let it be known, your mileage will vary. YMWV. The cryptic little phrase that first danced into my life back in vet school, long before social media was even a sparkle in the internet's eye. I was haunting geeky message boards at the time. I skipped the 7 a.m. parasitology classes to do so, especially the ones filled with musicians obsessed with microphones, preamps, and compressors. That's what I did. As a band playing mix engineer in training, I was enthralled, and every opinion, every hot take, this piece of gear will change your life. Those posts would inevitably end with the knowing shrug of your mileage will vary. Your mileage will vary means this worked for me, but hey, no promises it'll work the same for you. And let me tell you, if that phrase wasn't made for feline CKD, I don't know what is. Because here's the deal. CKD isn't just one tidy disease. It's a broad label covering at least 13 different types of root causes of kidney problems. In addition, there are 4 stages, from just a smidge to Houston, we got a problem. And we've already got 52 CKD personalities to contend with. Now stir in the usual suspects, those common conditions that love to crash the party, especially in older cats, which we talk about in chapter 10, and suddenly we're looking at 208 possible ways a cat with CKD might show up in your life. That's not a treatment plan. That's a Sudoku puzzle in a fur coat. And much like recording music, when you've got infinite combinations of gear, settings, room acoustics, and who spilled the beer on the amp again, no 2 sessions or cats are exactly the same. But here's the magic. Despite the wild variety, a core set of principles still shape the outcome. Whether it's a perfect audio mix or a perfectly thriving kitty, the secret lies in doing the right things in the right order. That's why this book is structured the way that it is. I've refined a straightforward step-by-step strategy that works for about 80% of cats with the most common CKD variations. And that's a pretty solid beat if I do say so myself. So yes, your mileage will vary, but with the right map and the right tools, you'll be in a much better position to help your cat feel better. My very first cat, Zach, was the original inspiration behind all of this. He had CKD along with a bingo card of all their ailments, arthritis, pancreatitis, IBD, hyperthyroidism, even a touch of ataxia because apparently he was going for a full collection. I explained what all that stuff is later, but here's the thing. None of that stopped him from living his absolute best life. From the moment I realized what I was up against, I made a quiet promise. I'd do everything in my power to keep him happy as long as he was on board with the plan. Just like you, I became a feline pharmacist, attendant, chef, all rolled into one. And you know what? It worked. Thanks to his willingness and my determination, Zach kept showing up for life. He greeted us at the door, slept like it was a competitive sport. He crunched his favorite treats well into his 20s. His many conditions didn't define him. They were just part of his story and ours. That is why this whole thing is personal for me. It's probably also why I tend to spill pieces of my life saga throughout the book, like breadcrumbs, especially in the later chapters. I definitely spill some tea because I want you to know that I've been there, elbow deep in medications and downright brutal or confounding personal life problems, but still fully invested and focused on the task at hand. Zach was the muse behind my online course, Stress to Success, the essential guide to medicating your feisty, grumpy, or reluctant cat. Because let's be honest, some cats would rather join the circus than take a pill. Zach taught me how to earn trust, build routines, and make medicine time less of a battle and more of a dance. Well, at least on most days. You can see his wise little face over at iwillhelpyourcat.com. The vast majority of you will have a physical exam, blood work, and urinalysis completed by your vet in order to come to the diagnosis of CKD. So in this book, we just assume you're reasonably confident in that diagnosis. So we get right to my method of how I address CKD for my patients. You'll also find guidance to help you make reasonable, well-informed requests from your vet. Because when you're armed with knowledge and a plan, you're not just a pet parent, you're a full-on health advocate with a furry sidekick. Final note before we get started. The idea that cats have 9 lives is an old myth rooted in folklore. It's mostly a nod to their uncanny agility, survival skills, and mysterious nature. They can fall from high places and walk away, squeeze through the impossible spaces, and seem to escape danger with supernatural ease. Hence the belief that they must have more than one life. In ancient Egypt, cats were sacred and associated with the goddess Bastet, protector of home and health. Their revered status contributed to the mystical beliefs about them. Families would mourn cats like human relatives, even shaving their eyebrows as a sign of grief. So know that your efforts to protect the health of your cat has been shared by humans that have come thousands of years before you. Let's begin. Adventure awaits.